welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing the F2020 book tag. But before we get into the tag questions, I just wanted to mention, I don't know how well it comes off on camera, but I have just had the worst rash on my face this past week. I think it looks kind of okay now, but if you go back 5 days, it looked absolutely awful. I just have super sensitive skin, so this happens sometimes, and lately it's been super cold here, a lot colder than we're used to, and apparently my skin can't handle the dry, cold air that we have right now. So I just wanted to mention it. It's nothing serious, but just in case you were wondering and noticing, that's why my face looks a little bit weird. So I was tagged for this video by Amrita from Amrita by the Book. I will link her channel down below. You should all go check out her channel because it's awesome. So I looked through the questions for this tag, and it kind of looks like I should have done this at the end of 2020. The questions are sort of phrased that way, but I mean, we're used to this by now. I'm a little bit late here on this channel with tags, so I'm going to try and do it the best way I can, even though we're like a month and a half into 2021. So there are 8 questions, so let's just go through them. So the first question is, share some good stuff that has happened in 2020 and some bad stuff if you want to. I mean, the bad stuff should be pretty obvious, I guess. We're in the middle of a pandemic still. It's been going on for most of 2020. And I think like pretty much the whole world has been affected, me included. So obviously that's the bad stuff that's happened in 2020. As for good stuff, there's been some of that too for me personally anyway. I've been working from home for most of 2020, and I have discovered that I love working from home. I've just had a good time with that. I'm a super introverted person, so working from home just suits me a lot better. So I'm kind of hoping that even after the pandemic is over, I can still work from home, not all the time, but at least some of the time, I hope. I've mentioned it to my boss and he was kind of positive, so I think I can make that work. So that has actually been a good thing for me. And also, I mean, I started my booktube channel in 2020. That has been great. I read the most books in 1 year that I've ever read, so that was great as well. So I mean, it's been a lot of positive things for me personally this year, even though for the world as a whole it has not been a good year. So question number 2 is, what book did you love at the beginning of the year? So I remember in January of 2020, I was just catching up on a lot of series that I was in the middle of. Most of them were YA series, and they were all series that I really enjoyed. I remember reading The Toll, which is the final book in the Scythe series. I'm pretty sure I read a book by Maggie Stiefvater, one of the Raven Cycle books. I think it was the 3rd one. I think I read Gemina by J. Christoph and Amy Kaufman. I'm pretty sure I also read The Gentleman's Guide to Getting Lucky, which is the novella in Mackenzie Lee's series. And absolutely love that book. So yeah, that was some of the books that I was reading at the time, and also like YA fantasy sci-fi type series that I was trying to catch up on. And at this point, I think I finished all of those series or caught up with all of those series. Question number 3 is a book you were looking forward to that ended up not being great. So I've tried to, for this tag, I've tried to come up with some books that I haven't talked about that much in other videos, because there are other books that I was more disappointed with than I was with this one. But I've mentioned them several times before, so I tried to talk about something different here. So the book I'm going to mention for this question is one that I'm a little sad about, and it's Girls of Storm and Shadow by Natasha Nyan. This is the second book in a series. I can't remember what the series is called. The first book is Girls of Paper and Fire. And I really enjoyed the first book. I thought it was great. I thought it was well written. I thought the world was super interesting. So I was really looking forward to reading the second book, and I did in 2020. And unfortunately, it was a little disappointing to me. I can't say exactly why I felt that way about it. I just never really got into it. It never really grabbed me. It never really made me care. The setting is kind of different in the second book compared to the first one, and I guess I just found everything a little less intriguing in this second book. That being said, I don't necessarily think it's a bad book. It was still well written. The universe is still interesting. I gave the book 3 stars, so it's not like super bad or anything like that. It was just a little disappointing to me after reading the first book, which I really enjoyed. Question number 4 is a book that surprised you this year. And this year, in this case, is obviously 2020, even though we're now in 2021. So, I mean, usually when I'm surprised by a book, it's a book that I go into without really knowing much about it, because I feel like for the most part, if I know what a book is about, I have a pretty good feeling about whether or not I will enjoy it. So when I get like super surprised by a book, it's usually a book that I go into pretty blind. And that's what happened with this book. It's Far From the Tree by Robin Benway, which I went into without knowing anything at all. I remember reading it pretty early in 2020. I needed a new audiobook basically. And I was just scrolling through my list of books that I had saved in my like audiobook list. And for some reason I decided to go for this one, and I can't remember why I put it on my audiobook TBR. I assume I probably heard someone talk about it at some point, but I had forgotten what it was about. I had forgotten why I had added it. So I just picked it randomly that day from my list of audiobooks that I wanted to listen to at some point. And I ended up loving this book. It was amazing, and I was just so surprised because I had no idea what to expect when I went into it. So this book is a YA contemporary. It's about family, basically, which is, you know, I always love a book about family, or not always, but if a book is about family, it's a good chance that I will enjoy it. So in this case, this book is about 3 biological siblings who have all been adopted into different families, or they were separated when they were very, very young. So these biological siblings, they find each other when they're in their teens. I can't remember if they knew about each other before that time, or if they like only just found out in this book as well. But they're meeting each other for the first time in this book. And you know, their lives have just taken them on 3 very different paths. So in this book, we're kind of following them both like in their individual like families or surroundings, and we're also like following them as they are trying to like get to know each other. And I think they were like trying to sort of figure out their past a bit as well, and like why they were given up for adoption and weren't growing up with their biological parents. So I just thought this book was really, really well done. I just really enjoyed the like exploration of family. I really enjoyed these 3 characters trying to get to know each other. And yeah, this was just really, really well done. And it was a real surprise because, you know, I had no idea about what to expect when going into it. And then I got this, and yeah, I just had a really good time with this book. So question number 5 is a book you like, but nobody else does or talks about enough. So for this one, I'm going to go with a book that I don't think is talked about enough. And that book is Ziggy Stardust and Me by James Brandon. I won't go too much into what this book is about because I actually made a separate review for this book. So I will link that up above. And this is a book that I saw a couple of people mention around the time that it came out. I saw them mention it like in book hauls and stuff. But I don't think I've ever seen anyone talk about it like in a review or a wrap up, or like hearing their thoughts about the book after they read it. So that's why I don't think this is talked about enough. This is a book that I personally really enjoyed. It has a bit of a different writing style maybe, so I can understand if it's not for everybody maybe. Personally, I really enjoyed it and I would love to see it talked about a bit more. Question number 6 is a book you want to come out already this year, and then it says in 2020. But I'm going to talk about 2021 because we're in 2021. So I have mentioned before that I don't really follow new releases. I only really discover them when people start talking about them in booktube videos and stuff like that. So I don't really know what's coming out until people start to talk about them. And I also didn't really want to mention Heartstopper Volume 4 again because I've already mentioned so many times, except now I have mentioned it. But a book that I know is coming out and that I am excited about is The Galaxy and the Ground Within by Becky Chambers, which is the 4th book in the Wayfarer series, or companion novels, I guess. By the time this video comes up, the book might already be out. I am pretty sure it's coming out sometime in February, around mid-February I think, so it might already be out, or it's just around the corner. So I have really enjoyed the 3 other books in this series. I think the first book is still my favorite, but I really enjoyed the other 2 books as well. And I will definitely be picking up this 4th book at some point. And just the covers of these books are so gorgeous, so I mean, I love having them on my bookshelves for that reason as well. So yeah, this is a book that I am excited about in 2021 and that I will definitely read at some point. Question number 7 is, what book were you looking forward to that got pushed to 2021? And I actually do have an answer for this question because this book I'm pretty sure was originally supposed to be published in 2020. And that book is The Nobleman's Guide to Scandal and Shipwrecks by Mackenzie Lee. This is the 3rd book in her series that I can't remember the name of. The first book is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. And this book, I am pretty sure, like I said, was supposed to come out in 2020. And then it got pushed, I think, to April of 2021 or something like that. And then when I checked a couple of days ago, it was actually pushed further. And now it says November 2021. And I actually saw a note from the author saying that the reason it got pushed was because she had finished the book, she had completed it, but she didn't feel right about it. There was something that wasn't quite right as she felt, so she asked if she could push it back so she'd have time to basically rewrite the whole thing. And I mean, I totally respect that. I want her to publish the best book that she can, and I love this series, so I mean, I obviously want it to be the best version that it can be. But yeah, I'm excited about this book. I think, pretty sure the main character in this book is the younger brother of Monty and Felicity. And he is quite a lot younger than them as well, so I assume that since he is the main character, Felicity and Monty will probably be quite a bit older than they were in the first 2 books. And I don't think these 3 siblings, or that Monty and Felicity, have actually even met this younger brother, so I'm just excited to see what's going to happen with that. And obviously I'm excited to see Monty and Percy and Felicity again as well, because I love those characters. So yeah, I'm excited about this book whenever it comes out. And the final question, question number 8, is, what book will you think of when you think of 2020? And like I mentioned earlier, I really try not to go with the same books that I've talked about in every single 2020 wrap-up type video. But for this question, I just couldn't get past Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This was probably my favorite book of the year. When I think back on books that I read in 2020, I always come back to this one. So I mean, I just couldn't get past it. This is my number 1 2020 book. So that was the F2020 book tag. I'm not going to tag anyone else. Again, I'm doing this so late. I mean, I don't want people to have to do this tag like in March or something. So once again, I'm not tagging anyone, but as always, if you want to do it, then please go ahead. I would love to see your video. So that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye!